So Gabriel is joining us from the United Nations in New York. So, Gabriel, what more are we learning about what exactly these measures entail?
Yeah, these are three new provisional measures just announced by the ICJ within the last hour or so. We've been sifting through them. It's only about a 3-page document here, so it doesn't take too long. But the three key points are basically this. Number one, it all deals with humanitarian aid. The first provisional measure calls on Israel to take effective measures to immediately get humanitarian aid that those who need it. Everything, they say, from food, water, electricity, fuel, shelter, clothing, hygiene, and sanitation requirements. The second provisional measure is also calling on the Israeli military to halt with, in their words, immediate effect, any military action that could hinder the delivery of this humanitarian aid. So, and then the third provisional measures, the court is asking that Israel issue a report back to the ICJ on how it's implementing these new provisions in 1 month's time, which would be April 28th. So the first two provisional measures might seem very similar to the 6 provisional measures that the court laid out in late January, and they are similar, quite frankly. What these are, as the court kind of explains, not in these certain terms, but insinuates these are enhancements, if you will. Essentially, the court is saying here, the situation is getting worse in Gaza. Here's 2 or 3 of the provisional measures we want to highlight and accentuate that we meaning the court, is asking Israel to abide by immediately.
Right, and we'll obviously wait to see whether there's any reaction from the Israeli side to this. But Gabriel, is there something to be said about the timing as to why these measures were introduced now?
There is, and the court actually lays that out in the first part of their provisional measures here. The bottom line is the situation on the ground in Gaza has gotten worse since the court issued those provisional measures in late January, January 26th. The court says these are modifications because of, in their words, the change in the situation on the ground in Gaza. They say when we wrote or issued our January 26th provisional measures, they said that the people of Gaza were facing a risk of famine. The ICJ says now that famine is setting in. And that is why, in their words, it justifies the modification in these provisional measures. So the bottom line is the court looks at the situation on the ground in Gaza and said, we need to update our provisional measures, and that's exactly what they've done.
Okay, thank you. Gabriel Elizondo, thanks for that update from the UN.